Okay, here's the deal. Most of us seem to have quite a bit more time on our hands right now than what we typically do, given the global pandemic that we're dealing with. Hopefully, you live close by a body of water that you have access to get to for fishing, whether that's a creek, a river, a lake, a pond, someplace to get outdoors and try to catch some fish. And hopefully, you're fortunate enough and you catch a few and you want to keep them and eat them. Now what? Today, I'm going to show you some tips and tricks on not only how to clean those fish and prepare them to be eaten, or save them for a later date, maybe to share with family and friends. So I'm going to show you how to turn this into this, and I hope you enjoy it. I promise you it's going to make your fish better. Enjoy. Hey, what's up? So yesterday, my dad and I caught a lot of crappie down at Cedar Creek, and today I thought I would show you guys how to properly clean and then also store your fish. I got the Bubble Blade fillet knife. I'm not sponsored by these guys, but I'm telling you, it's the best fillet knife that I've ever used, and I've filleted several thousand fish. Got my cooler. I was too tired last night to fillet the fish, so I just put them on ice. But before I do that, I thought I would show you guys what I caught the crappie on. So we'll go in here to the boat garage, and this right here is a really cool little double rig that I like to use a lot of times if I'm fishing deep, or like brush piles or bridge pilings, which yesterday we caught them on bridge pilings in about we were over about 23 foot of water, but they were actually suspended over the cross beams. So a lot of the older bridges, you know, have the cross beam between the actual vertical pillars, and a lot of times they'll get suspended under those. Sometimes they'll be on the bottom. You just kind of got to figure it out. Each day's a little bit different. I didn't get down there until about 10 o'clock, and they weren't on the bottom, which is where I caught them a couple of weeks ago when I took my daughter, and they had moved and they were suspended on the horizontal cross beams. So anyways, this is a double rig. It's got two 1/8 ounce, I believe these are 1/8 ounce. This one is purple and yellow there, and then this is one of my all-time favorites for Cedar Creek. It's a chartreuse blue tail. Caught a ton of crappie on Cedar Creek on that jig right there. And then the other one was just a single. This was a 1/4 ounce head here, just a little minnow looking plastic jig there. I think that's called, that's from Slab Bandits. So I can show you guys a pack of those in a link down in the description below. But anyways, yesterday they were on the cross beams, and we ended up catching around 30. So, you know, not a ton. We certainly didn't limit out, but they were all really nice size. So anyways, my buddy Brady's gonna be mad because my boat's filthy, and he always gives me a hard time about that. But so I'll get started on filleting these fish, show you guys some tricks and some things that I do to try and minimize waste. There's some extra meat on these that I think a lot of people kind of forget about and leave on the table, for lack of a better term. So anyways, let's get started. Alright, so got a fish here. One of the good things about putting them on ice before you clean them is that with the guts and the blood and everything being ice cold,
you don't have nearly as big a mess to clean up afterwards. But so what I like to do is, one of the mistakes I see a lot of people make is that they'll put the blade straight across, straight up and down. There's actually a lot of meat over here above the gill plate. So if you'll angle your blade back this way, you're really not giving up much. There's a little bit of belly meat here, but it's not a lot. And so by angling your blade this way toward the head of the fish, you pick up a lot of meat here, and you really don't give up much there. So you just want to start, go down, hit the spinal cord, and then you're going to stop and you're going to turn your blade. You'll see. I like to give it just a little bit of a sawing action right there, just to get through those scales. And then, so I'm down, I'm all the way at the spine. I'm going to turn my blade, and I'm just going to keep it angled down as I go toward the tail of the fish. And then I'm going to stop right there at the tail, and then you're going to flip that over. As you can see, it's a big female full of eggs. And now you're just going to do the same thing, except you're just going to angle it down and just stay right on top of the skin. And you're going to pull the fish with your non-blade hand, and it's going to slide right off. There we go. And so now there's no meat left. That's just nothing but skin there. So we're going to flip it over. We'll do the same thing on this side. Angle it back toward the head. Go right down to the spine. Now we're going to turn. Stop right there. Flip it over. Same thing. There you go. Now, got a bucket over here for my trash, for my guts. And then, so what I'll do, cut right along this rib cage, and I'll turn and come back this way. There you go. Really nice fillet. Check that out. That is liquid gold right there. Same thing here. Back, that bucket. There we go. And I'll clean these up here in a little bit once I'm done. One thing I want to show you is that I've got a bowl here. Inside the bowl, I've got beer in here right now. I don't like them to dry out as I'm cleaning the fish, so I just put them in here for now. Honestly, I don't know if the beer does anything to influence the flavor of the fish. It's just something I've always done. So you probably could use water and get the same effect. Bottom line is, I don't want them to dry out while I'm sitting here. So, done cleaning fish. I've got a bowl of fillets here. They haven't been cleaned or washed. They still got some trimming that needs to happen. Got my cutting board clean. Got a knife just in case I missed a bone maybe while I was filleting. That's happened before. But what I want to do now is I want to show you how I like to clean the fillets and then package them up for use at a later time. I'm going to freeze all these. I'm not going to yet. Save them up for the big fish fry that I've got coming up. So I'll show you how I like to freeze the fish because I do think it makes a big difference in the end product. So I've got my drain stop in here. It's not all the way down. It's enough to let water flow through. And so you just want to trickle, right? And so as you can see here on this particular fillet, there's a little bit of fat that's on the top side of the fillet. So if you imagine the fish this way, on the top side, there's almost always this little piece of fat right here. It just pulls off, and I always like to take that off. I don't know, just one of those things that kind of bugs me. And so I just like to give them a good rub, get any blood or any scales on there, get that off. Now we got a nice clean fillet, and I'm just gonna lay that there for now. So we're gonna go through here on every one of these, same process. Just give them a good wash. Don't have to spend a lot of time on each one. Just make sure that you don't have any fat or scales mostly. That's not a good thing. There's a scale right there. So that would have been on that fillet, and I can assure you, no amount of hot grease is going to fry that off. So you got to make sure that you clean these up really good. It doesn't take long, but it's definitely an important part of the process. And there's a big piece of fat right there that just came off of that fillet. There's some there, there's some more there, more there. So just because you filleted them doesn't mean they're ready to go in the grease. There's still a little bit of work to do. But again, it doesn't take that long. It's going to be well worth it in the end. So I'm going to knock these out, and I'll be right back and show you how I like to package them up and put them in the freezer. Alright, so we're done filleting our fish. We've cleaned the fish. I've got them right here. And as you can see, beautiful fillets. All clean, pretty. No scales, no blood, no fat, no nothing. Ready to be packaged up. Again, I'm going to freeze these and save them up for another trip. So I'm not going to cook them today. And so what I wanted to tell you a little bit about is the way that I like to package my fish. I think that it matters in the end product. And so I use a vacuum sealer. I know there's a lot of people for years and years have put them in bags with water, put them in milk jugs with water. There's a lot of ways you can do it, and I'm not saying that those don't work. They obviously do, but I've had them all. I've tried them all personally, and from my standpoint and the feedback that I have received from people who've had my fish is that it's some of the best fish that they've ever had. So I just want to share the way I do it. I do think it matters, and you know, so I use a vacuum sealer. This is just a Food Saver brand. There are a lot of brands out there. So I've already prepped a couple of bags here, got them sealed on one end. One of the most important things that I want to point out is that, you know, when I get ready to cook these fish, I'm not going to cook them in this whole fillet. It's pretty big, and that takes a while to cook, and sometimes it can cook unevenly. So with larger fillets like these, I'm going to cut that in half, and sometimes maybe even into thirds, depending on how big they are. So, but don't do that yet. Do not cut your fillets yet. When you do that, all you're doing is creating more surface area on the fillet itself, and you're creating more potential for freezer burn. And that's the ultimate goal here, is that we're trying to prevent freezer burn. So leave the fillet whole for now. And so you're just gonna load them in here. The other thing is, you can't just dump them in there and just throw them in there in a ball. You're gonna have a lot of air pockets if you do that. And again, if you know, air is not a good thing when you're trying to freeze your fish. You're gonna get freezer burn. So what I like to do, it takes a little bit more time and effort, but load them in here, about one, and kind of layer them almost like shingles on a house. Just kind of overlap them a little bit. And you just do that until you fill the bag up, and a couple things happen here. When you do it this way, one, you get a really nice seal on your fish, and that's the ultimate. That's the most important thing, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And then the other thing is, by doing it this way, you get this really nice flat package that you can store in your freezer. It doesn't take up a ton of space. You can stack them. You can set them up vertically once they're frozen, of course. But it just stores a lot better in the freezer as well. So now I'm okay with double layering them, which is what I'm doing right now. I've already kind of filled up one layer of this bag. I've got 2 bags prepped, but kind of where I have some holes or some gaps, I am putting a double layer of fish in here. But that should be good there. And then the other thing is too, you want to make sure that your fish are pretty dry. You don't want to put a lot of wet fish in here and try to seal it up, because then you're not going to get a good seal. So these have been patted dry before I started the video. So they've been patted dry. They still got a little bit of moisture on them, but not a lot. So now I'm just going to turn this on, put it on moist, because obviously it's not a dry. And then we're going to slide that in there. And then as it's sealing, I like to kind of massage the fish to try and push out any air, any gaps. Now it's done pulling a vacuum. Now it's going to seal the bag. Now I've got this beautiful pack of fillets, nicely sealed up, no air, and I can seal this. Got my Sharpie, put my date on there that I froze it. Today is February the 1st, so I'll write crappie. I like to put the lake on there. Not that I'm ever going to know the difference if I eat one from Cedar Creek or one from Lake 4, but I just like to do it. Crappie, Cedar Creek, 2, 1, 20. That way, when I do decide to pull out a smaller pack at some point in the freezer, I'll use the oldest ones first. So there you go, crappie, Cedar Creek, 2, 1, 20, ready to go in the freezer. These I'm putting in bigger bags. Generally, I don't freeze a bag that big unless I'm getting ready for a big fish fry, which I've mentioned before that I am. So usually I'll take like 10 fillets and put those in a smaller bag, so that, if it's just myself and if it's just my family, or maybe another couple of friends coming over, I can grab 2 small bags or something along those lines, and I don't have to pull out a giant bag of fish and have a bunch of leftovers. I love leftovers, especially leftover fish, but just helps you save a little bit and keep those big bags for the big fish fries. So anyways, I hope this helps. This is just my way of doing it. I am by no means a professional chef of any sort. This is all trial and error. I have learned a lot through the years. I've caught, cleaned, and fried a lot of fish, and I happen to think they're pretty darn good. And I've had a lot of people tell me that they're some of the best fish, if not the best fish that they've ever had. So I take those comments very seriously, and I wanted to share this with you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Please hit the like button, and please subscribe. Please share, and give me any comments that on any other videos or any tips and tricks that you might have. I'd love to see them. Thanks a lot. See you on the next video.